Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank for another round of rapid fire comic book reviews. So first we have Batman issue 121 by Joshua Williamson, and don't let this cover fool you. Ghostmaker plays no role in this story. So we pick up where we left off. Actually, we start with a flashback to the day Lex saw Bruce announce Batman Incorporated, and he's like, "Hey, I think I got an idea. I think I got some. I got something with that." And then we cut to the present with Batman and Lex teaming up. Well, not even really teaming up, but just sort of engaging Abyss and the members of Batman Incorporated. And it's an interesting enough fight. It goes through. Like, Abyss is pretty calm. Like, he's got Batman Incorporated on his side. He's taken Batman's, well, not like his greatest creation, but possibly his most ambitious creation, and thrown it against him. But then Batman goes, "Batman Incorporated? Code Club of Heroes." And so Bruce just Uno reversed Abyss. So it turns out they were undercover, or at the very least, this was a cover up. And that the members of Batman Incorporated were only pretending to follow Abyss. And ultimately, it helps. It makes us all feel better that Batman Incorporated weren't, taken by Abyss or whatnot. But Abyss is still pretty capable, and then he reveals that, he thought they had something in common, Abyss and the members of Batman Incorporated, because he also wanted to be Batman. And he mentions that this reveal here, that we sort of knew that Lex and Abyss had been working together, but it turns out that Lex had come to, whoever Abyss was, offered him a chance to become Batman for something Lex was creating. Abyss quickly realized that what Lex wanted was not so much a Batman, but a Batman he could control. Batman that would answer to him in Lex Enterprises. And Lex by default goes, "No, that's not what I said. Fake news." And yeah, it doesn't matter. Abyss takes him hostage, just really to buy time, and he escapes. Batman having a flashback to previous stories. There's Barbara from before this arc started. There's Alfred before he died. I think it's from before he died. And there's that little girl from, I think, Gotham Academy, that book that I only read halfway. It just was not my cup of tea. So Batman, seeing these three visions or voices, hacks Lex's suit and now has the ability to sort of see because of the light coming from the chest. And he's like, "Abyss is mine." And he encounters Abyss. Abyss makes it so Batman can see. It took the darkness that he gave him away for reasons. Like, you need to see what I'm going to do to you. Batman's like, "All right, bet, let's go." And they fight, and Batman puts the hurt on Abyss, and Abyss flees. I'm like, okay. Batman comes back and checks on Detective Kaya, and says, like, "You did good today. You did good. You had some real hustle. The city doesn't really need Batman as much as it needs people like you, so keep up the good work, and I'll be in touch." Meanwhile, Lex is chewing out Batman Incorporated like, "We had a deal. I paid you." Like, dude, we never cashed those checks. We never signed anything without our lawyers. So, we don't know what you're talking about. We did all this to find out about Abyss and what you've done with Abyss. And to see if you made any more Abyss. And it turns out you did. You did. So they're ready to put the hurt on him. But Batman's like, let him go. Let him go. Because they won't be able to find anything that ties Lex to Abyss. Lex is not stupid. He'd have done the work, and this isn't it. So once again, Lex has become a moron. Because this was a stupid idea. It was a stupid idea. But anyway, Batman tells Riley they did a good job, and that he'd like to stay, but he's got a message from Oracle, so he's got to go. This message actually involves the story in Detective Comics with Arkham Tower. And I didn't read that. I'm just now. So, he talks to Babs. Then we get the epilogue where Detective Kaya is infiltrating Lex Tower, or LexCorp, and then we cut to the second epilogue, which is Prometheus informing a mysterious figure that, Batman's back in Gotham City, so what should we do? And he goes like, "Make sure my secret society monitors his movements." And this figure with a secret society is Deathstroke, because there's a war coming, like, to Gotham again. Jesus, like, this is like why? This is like, what, the third war, fourth if we count City of Bane. Anyway, yeah. So this leads to, this will be continued in Shadow War Alpha. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this reveal that there's like another war coming. Hopefully, it's not to Gotham City. Like, just leave Gotham alone. Can't we go somewhere else? But yeah, this was a fun enough story. Looks like Ra's al Ghul's involved, so who knows? Who knows where that story going? Williamson told a nice, short, sweet, and simple story. I'd like to see more of Batman Incorporated, but that's just the way things are with Batman Incorporated. If you want more Batman Incorporated, you just have to read Batman Incorporated. Overall, this was a fun story. It's a shame Robinson won't be on the book for much longer. Chip Zdarsky will be taking over the title for the foreseeable future. Next, we have Batman Killing Time, another Batman book. Written by Tom King, so you really thought I would have gone...
No, God! No, God, please, no!
But, no. Like, you give it a try. You see how long it takes for Tom King to be Tom King. Instead of just, oh, cool, Tom King. It's rarely a, oh, cool, Tom King moment. Like his Batman and Catwoman had bad feelings about it from issue 1. This one here, I think, is alright. And there's not a lot of story progression here, so much as it's just one big heist. A heist on 2 fronts. So first we have Waylon Jones, Killer Croc, breaking into, the bank, holding it hostage, as you do, a classic bank robbery. It's always nice to see those, respect the classics. And Batman's called to deal with Croc. At the same time, Selina Kyle and Riddler have their own sort of plan going through, and it's an interesting plan, where Selina infiltrates the bank president's or bank advisor's, some important person at the bank's wife, while Riddler gets him to, open a special vault in the bank. Like, I think it was Vault 5? Yeah, Vault 5. So, this is a fun story because these 2 events are connected. They're connected through Penguin from the looks of it. Penguin provides the muscle, which is Croc. Croc is robbing the bank, or in this case, he's robbing the bank to buy time for Riddler and Selina to get what they need from that vault. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Croc is someone who can take Batman's attention, especially when he has hostages. I'm like, okay, this is a clever plan. And Croc gets what he wants. What Croc wants is money for an operation. Remember, this story takes place in the early days of Batman, Catwoman, all of them. So it's presumed here that, Croc hasn't fully fallen and later not necessarily rise, but we sort of find a happy medium in his life where he's still a criminal or whatever. Like, Croc is confusing as a Batman rogue. Sometimes he's a savage monster. Other times, like, I just want to protect the underground and the sick people of Gotham City, the poor and, the vulnerable in my sewer. Sometimes he just does that, and that's fine. What he wants is an operation so he can be with his, like, girlfriend, childhood sweetheart. I don't know, but it costs money, so to get the grafts and whatnot, he has to do this job for Penguin. I'm like, okay, and that does go through. Penguin wants Riddler and Catwoman to steal something. Like, we don't know what it is, but it's important, and they actually, like, both Riddler, Catwoman, and Penguin are all surprised that not only was there a plan to get it, but not only did it exist, but they actually got it. And I'm like, okay, what is it? I don't know. What is it? We don't know, because next thing we know, Riddler's beating the snot out of Penguin with his umbrella, and Catwoman sees the bat in the sky like, we gotta go. And they're like, crap, alright. They go, and Batman misses them, and then Gordon tells Batman, they got something out of Vault 5. You know what that is? And Batman's like, crap. And he's gone. So, yeah, this issue was, I think, I enjoyed it. It was nice to see all these this one story setup. Like, everything's broken down into time, what's going on here, what's going on there, what's going on elsewhere. So you get, why isn't Batman doing this? Well, because it's dealing with this one. Killer Croc with hostages takes precedent over Riddler and Catwoman, well, just in this case, just Riddler walking into a bank relatively alone. That's great. I'm not a big fan of this design of Penguin. Like, I hate when they draw Penguin to look pretty much like Danny DeVito's Tim Burton Bat. I like when Penguin looks a bit more normal and isn't eating live fish from a fish bowl. It's just nasty. Overall, though, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on. This is just a 6-issue series, so let's see here. Tom King tends to do better. Minus Heroes in Crisis, he does better with smaller stories with smaller issues, where he doesn't have the room to sort of be Tom King. He can just be Tom King. Yeah, that's it. He's sort of like Tim Burton that way. Like, the more you give Tim Burton, the worse it tends to be, in my opinion. Anyway. Next, we have Dark Knights of Steel issue 5 by Tom Taylor. So this story opens up with, well, we are in the kingdom of El, and Zala is, sort of like mourning the death of her father. Kal-El comes in, they hug it out the way siblings do, and Zala says she's been looking for the Green Man, trying to bring her father justice. I'm like, we've seen what you've been doing. Sure, killing King Jefferson himself, all right, that one made a degree of sense. Killing his son, felt like you were making it more personal. But okay, we didn't see you looking for the Green Man, and you killed the Metal Man, so we don't get what's going on here. Meanwhile, in Hob Forest, Harley has approached Ivy on behalf of the Queen. Ivy recognizes no Queen, because she's Ivy. Jesus, Ivy. Anyway. Harley wants Ivy, or rather the Queen would like Ivy to sort of, shore up the border, namely her forest, because a great way to get to the Kingdom of El is through the forest, and if Ivy, shores up defenses there, keeps an eye out for things, it'll be hard to get in. And we also reference, or mention that, Ivy has a thing for Harley, and Harley's like, look, you've got your world, I've got mine, please respect that. I'm like, okay. This isn't something we see a lot when it comes to Harley and Ivy's relationship, because this Harley has no relation that we've seen so far to any form of the Joker. So this looks actually kind of great on that angle alone. And I've never quite liked this couple as a whole anyway. Like, sure, like the two of them, when drawn right, it's hot. I'll admit it. But in terms of like long term, I've never quite seen the appeal to it. Like, the relationship really only works depending on how much of a presence the Joker has in Harley's life. So the less Harley needs the Joker, the less she really needs Ivy to that extent. At least that's how I've always believed it. I'm just tired of seeing them together. Every time I turn around, there's like a Harley. If Harley's there and Ivy's there, they're a couple. Like they're like an item, and it just sort of, it's lazy in my opinion, because nothing ever really comes from it. So anyway, back to the story. Ivy senses someone flying over the forest. It's Diana with her Pegasus. Harley says you should probably stop that. And there's a nice little showdown between Diana and Ivy. Like, and it's like, nothing in this forest can keep me. And Ivy's like, I can put funguses in your brain. Let's go. Harley's like, hey, how about we not? How about we just all be cool? And Zala and Kal-El show up. And Zala vouches for Diana, and Diana's like, "Hey, can we talk, Zala?" She's like, "So King Pierce says you murdered his son," and she's like, "What? I definitely would remember killing a child." I'm like, that is not what she said. And Diana is pointing out that Queen Hippolyta, her mother, and the Amazons are long-standing allies of the Kingdom of Storms. So if a war does come, they will be expected to fight for the Kingdom of Storms. And what Diana wants is for her and Zala to possibly prevent a war from happening. So that's cool. The question is, though, Zala denies killing Jacob. So the question is, we clearly saw her do it. Was it not her, or is she just lying? Who knows at this point, but it's an interesting point to make. Instead of her just being like this wild woman on a crusade, we now have to bring what we've seen into question. So yeah, that's fun. And in the actual town of the Kingdom of Storms, like in the castle town, Grayson shows up, and Bruce asks, "Hey, where's Kal-El?" And Steph reports that he's on the outskirts of town, and the reason this is because Bruce wants to talk to Kal-El about, not just the kryptonite, but also the reveal about his parentage, because it does sort of change things where we're going forward. So Bruce and Kal-El talk. They mention the kryptonite, or in this case, they don't call it kryptonite. They just call it this stone thing. Yeah. And Kal-El asks, so why did it affect you? And he pretty much mentioned his own sort of awkward way that Jor-El is not just your father, he's our father. And I've wanted to tell you for a while, but I just haven't worked up the time. But before he can finish it, Kal-El stabs him with the green rock. And I'm like, wait, what? What? And Kal-El goes, this is our world now. He takes Bruce into the sky and says, like, there will be no challengers. And he just drops Bruce down on the ground, leaving him to die. Luckily, though, Bruce is approached. Well, two farmers find Bruce, and like, hey, that's Bruce. That's the Batman guy. Like, should we just leave him die? Like, no, we're gonna help him out. So they pull the green stone, the kryptonite out. He, gives a blood curdling scream because it happens. And like, should we take him to the palace? Like, no, do not take me to the palace. Do not take me to the palace. The man Jonathan goes like, well, should we not take him? Where to take him? His wife goes, no, we'll take him to the farm. And Jonathan goes, I swear, Martha Kent, one day your compassion will be the death of us one day. And that's how the comic ends. So this issue was a fine heel turn, because a lot's going on here. So, we all thought Zala was crazy. She might still be crazy. We've got no evidence to prove that she's telling the truth. And then it turns out that Kal-El is the problem here. Or at the very least, Kal-El doesn't want to not be king. He wants to be king. And he also wants to take over the world, apparently. He's like, this is our world. So apparently the prophecy is coming true, but the question is, what made the prophecy come true? Did Kal-El always feel this way, or is it just recent events that has led to him doing this? Who knows? And now Bruce has been taken in by the Kent family. This is a weird, fun one. Like, I still think the scale needs to be bigger here, because we've spent a lot of time with the same cast of characters. Really, next issue, I'd like to go to the Kingdom of Storm, see what's going on there. What will Constantine tell? I forgot Pierce's daughter's name. I really don't care about Black Lightning. I really don't care about him. But, what will her response be? Will she sue for peace? Will she demand justice? She probably will do both. Like, hey, peace will come on the terms that Zala be made to answer for her crimes and whatnot. Okay, maybe she'll do that. Is there anyone else that we haven't seen will show up? Like, will Zatanna show up and point out, yeah, you guys think you know magic? Yeah, I don't know magic. Dr. Fate coming in. We'll see Doom Patrol. Or will Magnus come back and like, hey, what happened to my metal men? Who knows? Lex. Oh, we already seen Lex. It could be Clayface. Anyway, with that in mind, which brings the video to close here. If you're new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out some other videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.